to see if that variable changes. In Cura, you can just click on that variable, and then it shows every single time when that variable was changed or accessed. Think about it like Git for your computer's the run log.
So there's like a deep log of the state of the computer as the program runs, and you can rewind. Why isn't that? Maybe it is. Maybe you can educate me. Why isn't that kind of debugging used more often?
Because the tooling's bad. Well, two things. One, if you're trying to debug Chrome, Chrome is a 200 megabyte binary that runs slowly on desktops. So that's going to be really hard to use for that. But it's really good to use for like CTFs and for boot ROMs and for small parts of code. So it's hard if you're trying to debug like massive systems.
What's a CTF and what's a boot ROM?
Boot ROM is the first code that executes the minute you give power to your iPhone. And CTF were these competitions that I played, Capture the Flag.
I was going to ask you about that. What are those? Look at. I watched a couple of videos on YouTube. Those look fascinating. What have you learned about maybe at the high level vulnerability of systems from these competitions?
I feel like in the heyday of CTFs, you had all of the best security people in the world challenging each other and coming up with new toy exploitable things over here, and then everybody, okay, who can break it? And when you break it, you get there's a file on the server called flag, and then there's a program running, listening on a socket. It's vulnerable. So you write an exploit, you get a shell, and then you cat flag, and then you type the flag into a web-based scoreboard, and you get one.
So the goal is essentially to find an exploit in the system that allows you to run arbitrary code on that system.
That's one of the categories. That's like the pwnable category.
Pwnable?
Yeah, pwnable. It's like you pwn the program. It's a program.
Oh, yeah. First of all, I apologize. I'm gonna say it's because I'm Russian, but maybe you can help educate me.
Some video game misspelled own way back in the day.
Yeah, and it's just. I wonder if there's a definition. I'll have to go to Urban Dictionary for it. Okay, so what was the heyday of CTF, by the way? What decade are we talking about?
I think, maybe I'm biased because it's the era that I played, but 2011 to 2015, because the modern CTF scene is similar to the modern competitive programming scene. You have people who do drills, you have people who practice, and then once you've done that, you've turned it less into a game of generic computer skill and more into a game of, okay, you memorize, you drill on these 5 categories. And then before that, it didn't have as much attention as it had. I don't know. They were I won $30,000 once in Korea for one of these competitions.
Holy crap!
Yeah, they were.
So that means, money is money, but that means there was probably good people there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Are the challenges human constructed, or are they grounded in some real flaws in real systems?
Usually they're human constructed, but they're usually inspired by real flaws.
What kind of systems are imagined is really focused on mobile? What has vulnerabilities these days? Is it primarily mobile systems like Android?
Oh, everything does.
Still.
Yeah, of course. The price has kind of gone up because less and less people can find them. And what's happened in security is now if you want to jailbreak an iPhone, you don't need one exploit anymore, you need 9.
9 chained together? What do you mean? Yeah. Wow. Okay, so it's really... What's the benefit, speaking higher level philosophically about hacking? I mean, it sounds from everything I've seen about you, you just love the challenge and you don't want to do anything. You don't want to bring that exploit out into the world and do any actual, let it run wild. You just want to solve it and then you go on to the next thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, doing criminal stuff's not really worth it. And I'll actually use the same argument for why I don't do defense for why I don't do crime. If you want to defend a system, say the system has 10 holes, right? If you find 9 of those holes as a defender, you still lose because the attacker gets in through the last one. If you're an attacker, you only have to find 1 out of the 10. But if you're a criminal, if you log on with a VPN 9 out of the 10...
These days, is it primarily mobile systems like Android?
Oh, everything does.
Still.
Yeah, of course. The price has kind of gone up because less and less people can find them. And what's happened in security is now if you want to like jailbreak an iPhone, you don't need one exploit anymore, you need 9.
9 chained together? What do you mean? Yeah. Wow. Okay, so it's really... What's the benefits, speaking higher level philosophically about hacking? I mean, it sounds from everything I've seen about you, you just love the challenge and you don't want to do anything. You don't want to bring that exploit out into the world and do any actual, let it run wild. You just want to solve it and then you go on to the next thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, doing criminal stuff's not really worth it. And I'll actually use the same argument for why I don't do defense for why I don't do crime. If you want to defend a system, say the system has 10 holes, right? If you find 9 of those holes as a defender, you still lose because the attacker gets in through the last one. If you're an attacker, you only have to find 1 out of the 10. But if you're a criminal, if you log on with a VPN 9 out of the 10 times, but one time you forget, you're done.
Because you're caught. Okay.
Because you only have to mess up once to be caught as a criminal. Yeah. That's why I'm not a criminal.
But, okay, let me, because I was having a discussion with somebody just at a high level about nuclear weapons, actually, why we haven't blown ourselves up yet. And my feeling is all the smart people in the world, if you look at the distribution of smart people are generally good. And then this other person, I was talking to Sean Carroll, the physicist, and he was saying, no, good and bad people are evenly distributed amongst everybody. My sense was good hackers are in general good people, and they don't want to mess with the world. What's your sense?
I'm not even sure about that. Like, I have a nice life. Crime wouldn't get me anything. But if you're good and you have these skills, you probably have a nice life too, right? Like,
right, you can use it for other things. But is there an ethical? Is there a little voice in your head that says, well, yeah, if you could hack something where you could hurt people, and you could earn a lot of money doing it, though, not hurt physically perhaps, but disrupt their life in some kind of way. Isn't there a little voice that says,
well, 2 things. 1, I don't really care about money. Right. So, like, the money wouldn't be an incentive. The thrill might be an incentive. But when I was 19, I read Crime and Punishment.
Right. Good.
That was another great one that talked me out of ever really doing crime. Because it's like, that's gonna be me. I'd get away with it, but it just went through my head. Even if I got away with it, you know. And then you do crime for long enough, you'll never get away with it.
That's right. In the end, that's a good reason to be good.
I wouldn't say I'm good. I would just say I'm not bad.
You're a talented programmer and a hacker in a good, positive sense of the word. You've played around, found vulnerabilities in various systems. What have you learned broadly about the design of systems and so on from that whole process?
You learn to not take things for what people say they are, but you look at things for what they actually are.
Yeah.
I understand that's what you tell me it is, but what does it do?
Right. And you have nice visualization tools to really know what it's really doing.
Oh, I wish I'm a better programmer now than I was in 2014. I said, Kira, that was the first tool that I wrote that was usable. I wouldn't say the code was great. I still wouldn't say my code is great.
So how was your evolution as a programmer, as a practice? You started with C. At which point did you pick up Python? Because you're pretty big in Python now.
Now, yeah, in college, I went to Carnegie Mellon when I was 22. I went back. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take all your hardest CS courses. And we'll see how I do, right? Like, did I miss anything by not having a real undergraduate education?
Yeah.
Took operating systems, compilers, AI, and their like freshman Weeder math course. And
operating systems, some of those classes you mentioned pretty tough actually.
They were great. At least when the 2012, circa 2012 operating systems and compilers were they were the best classes I've ever taken in my life. Because you write an operating system and you write a compiler. I wrote my operating system in C and I wrote my compiler in Haskell, but
Haskell.
Somehow I picked up Python that semester as well. I started using it for the CTFs actually. That's when I really started to get into CTFs. And CTFs, they're race against the clock, so I can't write things in C.
Oh, there's a clock component, so you really want to use the programming language that you can be fastest in.
48 hours, pwn as many of these challenges as you can.
Pwn.
Yeah. You got like 100 points a challenge, whatever team gets the most.
You were both at Facebook and Google for a brief stint.
Yeah.
With Project Zero, actually, at Google for 5 months, where you developed Kira. What was Project Zero about in general? I'm just curious about the security efforts in these companies.
Well, Project Zero started the same time I went there. What years were you there?
2015.
2015, so that was right at the beginning of Project Zero. It's small. It's Google's offensive security team. I'll try to give the best public-facing explanation that I can. So the idea is basically these vulnerabilities exist in the world. Nation states have them. Some high-powered bad actors have them. Sometimes people will find these vulnerabilities and submit them in bug bounties to the companies. But a lot of the companies don't really care. They don't even fix the bug. It doesn't hurt for there to be a vulnerability. So Project Zero is like, we're going to do it different. We're going to announce a vulnerability, and we're going to give them 90 days to fix it. And then whether they fix it or not, we're going to drop the zero day.
Oh, wow.
We're going to drop the weapon.
That's so cool. That is so cool. I love that. Deadlines. Wow, that's so cool.
Give them real deadlines.
Yeah.
And I think it's done a lot for moving the industry forward.
I watched your coding sessions that you streamed online.
Yeah.
You code things up, basic projects, usually from scratch. I would say, sort of as a programmer myself, just watching you, that you type really fast and your brain works in both brilliant and chaotic ways. I don't know if that's always true, but certainly for the live streams. So it's interesting to me because I'm much slower and systematic and careful, and you just move, probably an order of magnitude faster. So I'm curious, is there a method to your madness? Or is it just who you are?
There's pros and cons. There's pros and cons to my programming style, and I'm aware of them. Like, if you ask me to like get something up and working quickly with like an API that's kind of undocumented,
yeah.
I will do this super fast because I will throw things at it until it works. If you ask me to take a vector and rotate it 90 degrees and then flip it over the XY plane, I'll spam program for 2 hours and won't get it.
Oh, because it's something that you can just do with a sheet of paper, think through, design, and then just you really just throw stuff at the wall, and you get so good at it that it usually works.
I should become better at the other kind as well. Sometimes I'll do things methodically. It's nowhere near as entertaining on the Twitch streams. I do exaggerate it a bit on the Twitch streams as well. The Twitch streams, what do you want to see a gamer? You want to see action per minute, right? Yeah. So I'll show you APM for programming.
Yeah. I recommend people go to it. I think I watched probably several hours of you. I've actually left you programming in the background while I was programming because you made me. It was like watching a really good gamer. It's like energizes you because you're like moving so fast. It's awesome. It's inspiring, and it made me jealous that because my own programming is inadequate in terms of speed.
Oh,
so I was like.
So I'm twice as frantic on the live streams as I am when I'm out.
It's super interesting. I wasn't even paying attention to what you were coding, which is great. It's just watching you switch windows and game, I guess.
Yeah, I just hit the screen. I've developed a workflow at Facebook and stuff with it.
How do you learn new programming tools, ideas, techniques these days? What's your methodology for learning new things?
So I wrote for comma. Distributed file systems out in the world are extremely complex. Like if you want to install something like Ceph, Ceph is I think the open infrastructure distributed file system, or there's newer ones like CBFS, but these are all 10,000 plus line projects, and some of them are even 10,000 lines. Just configuring them is a nightmare. So I wrote one. It's 200 lines. And it uses Nginx and Volume servers and has this little master server that I wrote in Go. And the way if I would say that I'm proud per line of any code I wrote, maybe there's some exploits that I think are beautiful, and then this is 200 lines, and just the way that I thought about it, I think was very good. And the reason it's very good is because that was the fourth version of it that I wrote, and I have 3 versions that I threw away.
You mentioned, did you say Go?
I wrote in Go, yeah.
In Go.
So
is that a functional language? I forget what Go is.
Go is Google's language.
Right.
It's not functional. It's like, in a way, it's C++, but easier. It's strongly typed. It has a nice ecosystem around it. When I first looked at it, I was like, this is like Python, but it takes twice as long to do anything.
Yeah.
Now that OpenPilot is migrating to C, but it still has large Python components, I now understand why Python doesn't work for large code bases, and why you want something like Go.
Interesting. So why doesn't Python work for? So even most, speaking for myself at least, like we do a lot of stuff, basically demo level work with autonomous vehicles, and most of the work is Python.
Yeah.
Why doesn't Python work for large code bases?
Because, well, lack of type checking is a big.
So errors creep in.
Yeah, and like you don't know, the compiler can tell you like nothing, right? So everything is either like syntax error is fine, but if you misspell a variable in Python, compiler won't catch that. There's like linters that can catch it some of the time. There's no types. This is really the biggest downside. And then, well, Python's slow, but that's not related to it. Well, maybe it's kind of related to it, so it's slacker.
So what's in your toolbox these days? Is it Python? What else? Go?
I need to move to something else. My adventure into dependently typed languages, I love these languages. They just have, like, syntax from the 80s.
What do you think about JavaScript? ES6, like the modern TypeScript?
JavaScript is... The whole ecosystem is unbelievably confusing.
Right.
NPM updates a package from 0.22 to 0.25, and that breaks your Babel linter, which translates your ES5 into ES6, which doesn't run on. So, why do I have to compile my JavaScript again, huh?
It may be the future, though. You think about, I've embraced JavaScript recently, because, just like I've continually embraced PHP, it seems that these worst possible languages live on for the longest. Like cockroaches never die.
Yeah. Well, it's in the browser and it's fast.
It's fast.
Yeah.
It's in the browser, and compute might become the browser. It's unclear what the role of the browser is in terms of distributed computation in the future. So,
JavaScript is definitely here to stay.
Yeah. It's interesting if autonomous vehicles will run on JavaScript one day. I mean, you have to consider these possibilities.
Well, all our debug tools are JavaScript. We actually just open source them. We have a tool, Explorer, which you can annotate your disengagements, and we have a tool, Cabana, which lets you analyze the CAN traffic from the car.
So basically, anytime you're visualizing something about the log, you're using JavaScript.
Well, the web is the best UI toolkit by far.
Yep.
And then, you know what, you're coding in JavaScript. We have a React guy. He's good.
React, nice. Let's get into it. So let's talk autonomous vehicles. You founded Comma AI. Let's, at a high level, how did you get into the world of vehicle automation? Can you also just, for people who don't know, tell the story of Comma AI?
Sure. I was working at this AI startup, and a friend approached me, and he's like, dude, I don't know where this is going, but the coolest applied AI problem today is self-driving cars. I'm like, well, absolutely. Do you want to meet with Elon Musk? And he's looking for somebody to build a vision system for autopilot. This is when they were still on AP1. They were still using Mobileye. Elon back then was looking for a replacement. And he brought me in, and we talked about a contract where I would deliver something that meets Mobileye level performance. I would get paid $12 million if I could deliver it tomorrow, and I would lose $1 million for every month I didn't deliver.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is a great deal. This is a super exciting challenge. You know what? Even if it takes me 10 months, I get $2 million. It's good. Maybe I can finish up in 5. Maybe I don't finish it at all, and I get paid nothing, and I'll work for 12 months for free.
So maybe just take a pause on that. I'm also curious about this because I've been working in robotics for a long time. I'm curious to see a person like you just step in and sort of somewhat naive, but brilliant, right? So that's the best place to be because you basically full steam take on a problem. How confident, from that time, because you know a lot more now, that time, how hard do you think it is to solve all of autonomous driving?
I remember I suggested to Elon in the meeting putting a GPU behind each camera to keep the compute local. This is an incredibly stupid idea. I leave the meeting 10 minutes later and I'm like, I could have spent a little bit of time thinking about this problem
Why is it
before
a
I went
stupid
in.
idea?
Oh, just send all your cameras to one big GPU. You're much better off doing that.
Oh, sorry. You said behind every camera have a
Every camera.
GPU.